Hi there, welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. We're having another game of 7th today. It's myself versus Paul, and it's Paul's first game, so we're playing a reasonably small number of points. We're playing 1250, and we're using our own mission. It didn't take me long to write some new missions for 7th edition. I've entitled this one Calm the Maelstrom, because the idea is it captures the flavour of Maelstrom missions, but is a lot less random. So we're going to have the 6 objectives on the table, as usual, numbered 1 to 6. At the start of each player's turn, that player will roll a dice, and he'll note if it's odd or even, and then if he scores, the odd or even objectives are each worth 1 point at the end of his turn. If he scores the objective that was the exact number rolled on the dice at the start turn, he gets an additional point. So basically, each turn you roll, and it's on odd or even objectives you're trying to capture that turn. Also, at the end of each player's turn, they can score victory points in 5 other ways. These are all taken from the objective cards, but they're the less random ones, the ones that are more likely the most armies can complete. So there's behind enemy lines. If you get 2 of your scoring units within 12 inches of the opponent's objectives, the opponent's table edge, you score a victory point. If you control at least 2 objectives and twice as many as your opponent, you get to score an additional victory point. There goes a birthday card in the background. Overwhelming firepower. If you get to kill one of the opponent's units during the shooting phase, you get a point. If you manage to kill 3 or more of them, you get 2 points instead. Blood and guts, very similar but for close combat. So kill 1 unit during your assault phase, you get a point, and you get 2 points if you score 3 units in your assault phase. And lastly, I've thrown in harness the warp, which is pretty hard to do, but if you kill a unit during the psychic phase, you gain a point, and if you somehow manage to kill 3 units during the psychic phase, you gain 2 points. There's Slay the Warlord is the only secondary we use. We're not using First Blood and Line Breaker because they're kind of covered by the other objective rules. So there's the table you can see there. It's quite heavily and densely populated. We haven't put down objectives yet. We'll go through those in a moment. So I'm playing the new Ork Codex today for the first time. So 1250 points. I am led by a big mech on bike. He has got a kill saw. He's got Da Thinking Cap. What else has he got? He's got his custom force field. Then in the other HQ slot, I have got a Pain Boy. He's got no upgrades. And then I've taken 2 little mechs to join squads. One has a rocket launcher, the other is bare bones. For troop-wise, we have a squad of 30 shooter boys with 3 big shooters and a knob with a power claw. Then we have 2 12-man boy squads, each with a knob with power claw boss pole. They have slugger chopper, and they're each in trucks with no upgrades. Then we move over to heavy support. I have 4 mech guns forming 1 unit. They're homemade mech guns, so they all look a bit different. This one here, though, is a tractor cannon, so for dragging aircraft out of the sky. And the other 3 are just normal cannons. I have ammo runts on all but one of them. We're going to say this one doesn't have an ammo runt. Then we have a nice Death Dread at the back there. He's got twin custom Mega Blaster and Grot Riggers. We've got 5 buggies with twin rocket launchers. And rounding it off, we have 6 war bikers led by a knob with boss pole power claw. And that is 1250 points of Orks. Actually a surprisingly large looking army, especially compared to what Paul's about to show you.
Hi there, so for my first battle in 7th edition, I have decided to take my Space Marine Deathwatch army. We will be led by this librarian on loan from the Green Knights. He is a 2nd level psyker, and he has Terminator armour and a combi melter. He's got Force, Assail, Shockwave and Levitation for his psychic powers, and his Warlord power means that he causes fear. He will be leading a squad of Terminators. The Terminators have a Cyclone missile launcher and a Chain Fist in there. And we also have 2 tactical squads. The tactical squads each have a sergeant with a combi melter, a flamer, and a las cannon, and the sergeant also has a teleport homer, so I might put those Terminators in reserve. And they have a Razorback with an assault cannon, a twin-linked assault cannon. I had 5 extra points, so one of them is rocking an extra Storm Bolter.
Deadly.
Here is the 2nd tactical squad. We have a Storm Talon from the White Scars. It's got its twin-linked assault cannon and Skyhammer missiles. We have a Vindicator from the Salamanders, and a Dreadnought using 2 sets of twin-linked autocannons from the Imperial Fists, and we'll be using Imperial Fist Doctrine today.
Okay, so this is our setups. Paul has deployed quad stuff in cover on the back of this large hill. So he's got his dreadnought. He's combat squadded each of his tactical squads. So half in the Razorback with the combi melter and the flamer and the sergeant, obviously. And then he's got half tactical squad there, the las cannon, and half over there, las cannon. The Vindicator he has cunningly set up so he can see through the giant mountain. Somebody dug a tunnel for some unknown reason.
Probably using a Vindicator.
Yeah, probably using a Vindicator. So he can see through there, which isn't good for me. So over on my side, I've got a carpet of boys. Still not sure I've done the points here, because it seems to be a ridiculous number of boys for this many points. So I've got my bikes over there, truck there, my big guns are all there. And then I have my giant squad of 30 and the dreadnought there. The big mech is in there. And then I have the other truck over there. I didn't do my warlord trait earlier, I forgot to say. So I got the thinking cap, so I got 2 warlord traits. I rolled on the orc table for one of them and got War, so my big mech has a War to call, which is really handy. And I then used the thinking cap to roll on the other table, and I got +1 to reserve. +1 to seize initiative rolls and re-roll my reserve rolls. So because of that, I have reserved my buggies there, and Paul has reserved his Storm Chicken and his Terminators with Librarian to deep strike in. So I'm now going to attempt to seize the initiative. So it's on a 5 or a 6. Oh yeah!
Anyway.
Excellent. Let's see how we go. Orc turn 1, so after my Courtiers-esque stealing of the initiative, I rolled my dice and I got a 4, so that means all even-numbered objectives are worth VPs this turn, and the objective number 4 is worth an additional. So over here we have, I don't think I went through these earlier, so I'll quickly do them now. So 5 is there, 2 is there, so this side of the table has 1 odd, 1 even, and then over here is the concentration of the objectives. We have a 4 and a 6, so 2 evens, and then a 3 and a 1 there, so 2 odds. So this is going to be the focal point of the game, I imagine. So on my turn, first of all, moved up over here, turbo boosted my bikes and the truck forwards and captured that objective for the point it offered. Over here, this truck was my only unit I kind of like had over this side until I spread my blob squad a bit. So he couldn't go forwards very far, but he stayed there to capture objective number 6. Objective 4, I waddled forward my dreadnought and moved my boys forward 6, and then went to the shooting phase. Obviously nothing in the psychic phase for myself. I fired all 4 of my big mech guns over at the Vindicator. Because of the deployment, I couldn't quite get all 4 of them shooting either of the Razorbacks. So I thought I'd chance it on the Vindicator, did nothing unfortunately. They couldn't shoot. Over here I attempted to plink a boy using my gun on the truck, but did nothing. And my dreadnought there used his 2 custom mega blasters to attempt to deal some damage to that Razorback over there, but didn't hit. But didn't get hot, so not all bad. Now here's where the mistake came. Paul had cunningly, he says this was his cunning tactic, he had left a las cannon dude just sitting around at the edge that he's going to demonstrate for you.
This was the bait.
So there was a las cannon dude there that I could see with my big shooters in this squad. And I was like, oh, las cannon dude. So I fired at him with the big shooters, killed him. Excellent, I thought. And then I remembered, should have really run this giant squad of 30 boys. So that was a bit of a mistake. I'm slightly lagging behind where they should be. So let's see what Paul can do on his turn 2.
Okay, Space Marine turn 2. We sort of shuffled our vehicles forward a bit. These 4 Space Marines went out to meet the oncoming Orc horde. Not probably the greatest plan they've ever had. These ones still stayed in their forest, claiming... Oh, sorry, we're on odds this turn, so I claimed a victory point for controlling number 1. I'm not quite as speedy as Mike, so I didn't actually get forward to anything else. The shooting phase was fairly abysmal. The Vindicator took a chunk of boys out, but the massive Dreadnought managed to use the big mech custom force field to survive the blast. Over here, this truck got shot at by some assault cannons from a Razorback and by the tactical squad in the forest and took 2 hull points. The night fighting saving him from taking the all-important 3rd hull point. And we shot up this one as well with some assault cannons, but again we didn't manage to achieve anything thanks to the cover and the night fighting and so on. These Space Marines shot down at the bikes, managing to make them jink, but that was about it. So far it's 1 lance cannon die and 4 victory points traded for 3 boys in a 1 victory point. Not very exciting.
Orky turn 2, so with the aid of Da Thinking Cap, which gave me the Warlord trait for +1 to reserves, my war buggies came on. They jetted on in the side corner over there. I really wanted them this side of the table, but they came on over here, so I managed to get them all, they're quite tightly packed, kind of Yeah, that's not going to go well next turn, I suspect. I went for a bit of a
That's all
gamble.
of them.
I thought I'd hopefully take out the Vindicator with all the shots on its side armour. Unfortunately, I only got one glancing hit through, which was pretty poor. Other than that, the truck that was here... Oh, I rolled a 1 this turn, so it's odd objectives I'm going for. Which meant there's an odd objective back here, so the truck disgorged its boys and reversed onto the objective to score it. The boys managed to get round the corner and assault a Razorback. I managed to destroy the Razorback without exploding it, which was quite nice. And the squad came out. Unfortunately, they have a flamer inside. And you can see that I have, due to this hill being here, and I didn't want the -2 on my charge, I'm deployed in flamer template formation. But Paul failed his pinning check, so he doesn't get to flamer me, which I'm very pleased about. Round here, the biker boys swept round and then assaulted up the side of the hill and killed the 4 Space Marines who were left there. I fired the big guns over at the side of that Razorback trying to pop it. It's taken 2 hull points, but I couldn't get the last one through. The Death Dread also attempted to shoot that and charge it, but failed in both of its attempts. Over here, the boys inside this moved forward, and the boys inside snap-fired and managed to kill 1 Space Marine from Paul's squad hidden in the woods. So again, not a whole lot of damage done in the shooting phase. My big squad just ran forwards, but I didn't declare my War this turn, because obviously his Warlord trait has given him War, because I didn't really want to compact myself in so much with the Flamer templates Paul's got, because I was really scared they can just do a right number on me. And Paul's got his Terminators coming in this turn, so having a nice big formation there prohibits his deep striking a little bit. So that was that. I scored points this turn. I scored 1 point over there, 1 point there for those 2 odd numbered objectives, and then I had 2 units, the biker boys and the dudes over there in Paul's deployment half, so I gained an extra point for that, and I also killed a unit in close combat. So I'm up to 8 points, which is pretty good going. Let's see what Paul does.
Space Marines turn 2. Thankfully, we got both of our reinforcements in. The Storm Raven came jetting in on this side of the board. Had some shots on the truck that was here, managing to explode it, and also managing to cook 5 of the boys inside in the resulting explosion. They're standing up and ready to do business though. Over here, the Terminators, my Librarian just had an unbelievably good go. First of all, he teleported in from Deep Strike using his teleport homer and appeared around here. And he used his Nova power to hit the bike squad, which was over here, and both these boy squads.
It was Shockwaves, the Nova power.
Managing to break this squad and doing some casualties on both the other squads. He then used his levitation power to move over to here, and then in the shooting phase, whipped out his combi melter and blew up the truck as well. So he's had an excellent go. As you can see, these bike boys also broke and are fleeing following an intervention from Brother Toten over here.
Don't forget also during the psychic phase you perils of the warped and turn yourself into an uber death machine by rolling a 6.
Yeah, he's turned into a super killing machine because he's really very, very angry man indeed. We had very good success with the Vindicator as well. Vindicator backed up, swiveled a bit and took a shot at the tightly packed buggies. So there was 5 buggies here. I managed to hit 2 of them.
Yeah, you only hit 2.
Deviated slightly, so I only managed to hit 2, but both of those were penetrating hits which resulted in explosions. And then in the chain reaction of the explosions hitting each other, we managed to do 3 more glancing hits, taking out a 3rd buggy and wounding a 4th. So that was pretty effective for a single blast. Las Cannon Man, the Blood Angel in here, is not very good with the Las Cannon. So he's now missed the Death Dread twice, and the Death Dread's getting closer and closer. This squad piled out to rescue their beleaguered brothers, and we put some more shots into the yellow squad, killing another 3 or 4 of them, I think.
Yeah, feeling the pain was pretty useful for me there.
Yeah. So I scored 2 more points this go, bringing my total to 3. So we did quite well in terms of killing orcs, but it's 3 plays, 8 in the victory point stakes.
It's Orc turn 3, so we had a little bit of morale issue last turn with the old mob rule coming into effect. Although Paul and I both said we found it quite flavourful actually how it worked, and it didn't particularly cripple me. So this turn, this squad rallied, and they then moved their 3 inches in the rally and got within the objectives 3 inches, because I rolled an even number. I rolled a 6 this turn. Unfortunately, 6 is all the way over here, which is not near any of my squads, so I couldn't gain the double points this turn, but I could get some even number points. So I moved within 3 inches. I'm a troop unit with objective secure. He is not, so I get to score the point. The bikes also rallied as well. They moved 3 inches backwards, and I fired the bike snap firing and that squad snap firing, plus all of the guns from the big guns unit into the Terminators. I managed to pick off 1 Terminator. Not brilliant, but could have been worse. I called my wah this turn, and I moved my big squad of 30 Ork boys forwards. I ran them so I could be in a short charge range of both of Paul's squads. Unfortunately, the 2 wrecked rhinos kind of like pinned me in, and I found that all the boys were a bit kind of like squashed in the middle, and they didn't get a brilliant roll on their charge. So I didn't actually have many of them in range. My big mech accepted a challenge from Paul, and he did 1 wound to me, and I killed 1 of Paul's sergeants. Not a fair exchange. I was rolling really hot on my Feel No Pain though, and the other 9 Space Marines killed no Orks, which was quite nice. I killed 2 Space Marines in return. Because I multi-charged, I didn't get the extra attack bonus or the Furious Charge bonus, so it wasn't brilliant. And Paul failed the leadership on 1 of his squads, which has backed away and been Space Marines. We'll be back in the fight next turn, but my big squad is locked in combat with 4 remaining Space Marines. Moving on to this side of the table, I'd moved my 2 buggies forward again, and they are getting side shots on a Vindicator. Unfortunately, Orky Ballistic skill came to the fore, and I missed all of my twin link shots. These boys down here, they could have tried they'd need a 10-inch move, including their run, to get back to objective 6. But as I'm quite far ahead on victory points, I really wanted to deny Paul units to fire so he can't get back in the game. So I decided to move forwards, and I was within a 4-inch charge at the end there of Paul. I failed it because of Paul overwatching me. He took out 2 of my boys, and then I just didn't roll very well, even with my here we go rerolls. So that wasn't special there. The Dreadnought though moved forward and custom mega blasted the Rhino, killing it in the assault shooting phase, gaining me a point for that. So at the end of that turn, I gained 1 point for the shooting phase kill and 1 point for holding that even numbered objective there. So I'm up to 10 victory points now.
Space Marine turn 3. Okay, so the Librarian continued to be a boss, moved up to here and let rip with another power which does the Nova attack, hitting 3 more units. They then beamed him but didn't quite manage to finish him off, so 1 more biker still alive, and didn't manage to get the kill in the psychic phase for a point. Then we shot up the purple boys squad that was there, wiping them out. Oh no, we had to charge them to finish them off. There was 1 guy left after the shooting finished. So that's... Oh, and we scored objective 2 because it's evens this turn. Over here, Brother Toten backed up a bit and fired along the table at the 2 remaining buggies, taking both of those out. Well done to him. The Vindicator took a shot at the Death Dread, doing nothing at all. But the Storm Talon had gone into skimmer mode, and so it could shoot in the rear armour of the Death Dread, and that managed to wipe the Death Dread out quite nicely. So I think that was all of my shooting. Oh, these guys who managed to escape from the melee just waddled about a bit. I moved 2 or 3 in the moving through difficult terrain, and then 1 on the run move. So they didn't get to anywhere where they could even take a shot. In the assault phase, these guys charged in against these Orks, and there was 1 casualty on either side. So it's 3 Marines versus 3 boys and a knob. Don't really fancy my chances over there, but what can you do? And over here we walked in and wiped out the 1 remaining boy, and these guys of course got completely obliterated by the massive mob. So I scored 1 objective, and I killed units in both the shooting and assault phases. So 3 points to me this turn brings my total to 6. Mike's still on 10 though, and it's his turn next. His turn 4 coming right up.
Turn 4. So this turn we rolled a 4 on objective getting, which is over here, but it's also even numbers. So number there and even number there. So I'm not getting either of those. So my big boys squad wrapped around his Terminators. They fired at them. The big guns fired at them. I killed a couple with the shooting, and then I assaulted in and wiped out the rest of them, gaining me his Warlord as well, which is quite nice, and putting me on objective 2 for the end of the turn. My lone knob bike ran around the back and was attempting to charge on these Space Marines. I'd forgotten Paul still had a flamer there, and he doused them in Promethium as he charged, and he went up in flames and died a ignominious death. Over here, we continued crumping away at the Space Marines. He managed to get 1 wound onto my brave boys, but I managed my 6-up armour save and then crumped him back. He's got 1 Space Marine left there, but he didn't run away from the fight. Braver than you think, the Moomies. And so I gained 3 VPs that turn. 1 for the Warlord, 1 for wiping out a squad in close combat, and 1 for getting on that even-numbered objective there. So I'm up to 13. Paul, I think probably needs to wipe me off the table at this point, which isn't actually that hard. I've only got 3 units left. I've got boys, big guns, and those, but 2 of those units are pretty hard to remove. Let's see what happens.
Space Marine turn 4. So we're quite far behind in the victory points. At the start of the turn it was 6th place 13. So I decided to try and kill every Ork. So the Vindicator drove up here and had a nice little shot through the gap between the broken down Vindicator, the broken down Razorback and the Ruin. Put a nice big pie plate over there and managed to kill a bunch of guys, including the Warlords. So that was the big mech down, which means that the custom force field's gone down as well. So I was really very happy about that. I also got to slay the Warlord, but as I say, I can't really get there on kill points. The tactical squad mounted the Razorback and shot down. The Flamer guy is getting increasingly pissed off. Every time he's about to get a decent flame shot, something else rolls up and takes out the squad. I really wanted to fire the Vindicator first for the pie plate of death. And they killed a few more. We managed to make a break check, but instead of running, they just turned around and started fighting. They didn't even manage to kill any of them. We also, the really difficult thing of trying to kill all the Orks is this artillery squad is extremely difficult to take out. So he fired the Storm Pigeon, which managed to kill a Gretchen, and the Dreadnought, which managed to kill nothing at all. And then these Orks in the forest over here managed to finish off the one remaining Space Marine that was claiming that objective. So I scored 2 points here, which puts us to 8-13, but I didn't necessarily think I can win from points. Ork turn 5 coming up.
Ork turn 5. So both Paul and I have completely given up on gaining objectives at the moment because I'm so far ahead that it's not particularly important. I've just got to survive. So this turn, I fired all of these, including my tractor cannon, up at his flyer. A cannon hit, but the tractor cannon, the one that's really good versus flyers, missed, and I failed to pen with my cannon. So these guys all moved around the corner, opened fire. I managed to kill the Flamer in Paul's remaining tactical squad, which was quite nice, and then went for the charge. His Overwatch killed my 2 dudes who were closest to him, and then I failed the charge, which was really bad, so I'm now sitting out in the open. Over there, my 4 remaining boys ran in and crumped a Vindicator. The resulting explosion, damn that Power Claws AP2, only took out 1 boy though, which was quite nice, and I made my leadership check. So I still have my 3 squads left, and Paul has 3 squads left. So it's going to be a bit hard for him to do, but it's certainly not impossible.
Space Marine turn 5, so we've got 3 units, they've got 3 units. These guys took some shots at these Orks here. Managed to kill all of them apart from the Knob, who we just wounded. The Knob has broken and he's running, and so he's only back in the game on a double 1, so I'm going to ignore him. These guys got shot upon by a Storm Talon as it buzzed past. They went to ground, and as a result only lost 2 models when I needed
double 6 on my saves.
3 to force a leadership check, so they have not broken and still count as effective. And then we had the Dreadnought, who has the unenviable task of trying to shift these
big guns.
He managed to kill another Gretchen, so that's 2 Gretchen down on that thing.
Toughness 7 Gretchen, they're pretty tough.
So then, if the game ends here, then Michael will be the winner. If not, we'll see what happens next.
So I think your forces on the table are certainly superior to mine, so I could do with this ending. It's ended!
Excellent.
Okay, let's have a quick discussion about the game.
So I really like the new psychic rules. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, your psychic was brilliant.
I liked being able to shoot in the psychic phase and then shoot in the shooting phase. And
the fact you can do different targets is a big improvement for psychic shooting attacks.
And the little game around what you're going to dispel seemed quite good fun. I'm not sure Razorbacks are any good yet. I think I'll probably go back to Rhinos or Drop Pods or something.
I think I like having the 10 men in the thing. I don't like having Marines out on the open. I think you suffered a little bit due to being your first game that you didn't realise quite how mobile you need to be to get to all the objectives.
Yes.
Because they're quite disparately placed across the board, and being able to get to the ones on the particular turns is quite important.
A couple of land speeders would certainly have been a better investment than something I took. I don't know. Maybe the Dreadnought could have been a couple of land speeders.
I enjoyed the Orks. First time out with the Orks, I didn't think... Oh, dinner's nearly ready. I didn't think the mob rule was that punishing.
No, it was cool.
Killed a few Orks, but it was quite flavourful. It wasn't hugely worrying to me.
And you were able to go to the ground at the end of the game, which
actually saved that squad. Yeah,
cost you 2 more. Would have cost you 2 more models.
And that made a leadership check on that squad.
So that's better than Fearless in that regard.
The bikes were good. The big mech. I really enjoyed having the Feel No Pain in that squad from the Pain Boy. The amount of Feel No Pain saves I made was a huge number.
Yeah, definitely. And the force field was excellent as well.
The mech guns were survivable, but didn't really.
I'm not sure they
kill
killed
much.
anything. Maybe they killed one Terminator?
They killed a Terminator. I think they may have done one whole point to a vehicle, but not much.
Yeah.
But they don't cost many points. They're like 90 points there, so.
Wow, that's a very survivable unit for 90
Yeah.
points. I needed to get the Terminators up there to punch them with the power fists. That would have done the job. Okay.
Yeah, dinner is ready, so we better go and eat before our friends arrive.
Bye for now.
Bye.